Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to ZwiftPower Live broadcast of the Friday Criterium Monday Mad Series. Mad Monday Series, excuse me. Got that in the wrong order. And we are out on course with 116A elite men riders out there on the Libby Hill after party. I'm seeing Leandro Messinillo. I saw some Canyon DCC maybe up in there. I'm seeing a whole lot of names amongst the top riders. Libby Hill after party, though, very flat course up front, followed up by essentially a minute and a half all out to the top of Libby Hill. Makes it kind of interesting. Very tactical today, I think, for 33K, Dave. Dave, you did it. You got it.
There we go. Sorry,
go.
my hand slipped. We have a lot of great memories off of this course, Nathan. It's going to be, as you said, 33 kilometers today. It's almost entirely flat until they drop down into that infamous little where the boats are there by the river in Richmond. And then it's all in on that final climb up Libby Hill. So the fireworks, certainly, as they say, well, the sting is in the tail. So here we go. A really strong field, as you mentioned as well. So let's get ready to hit out. The guys are going to get through this one very, very quickly out there today.
Yeah, they have taken the right-hand turn onto the flatter sections of the course, what we call the crit course out on Zwift. And what out on the Richmond course, essentially, the flatter sections, they're going to be going through the sprints each time. Now, what does make things interesting, though, is there are sprint premiums, though, up for grabs, as they do come through each one of the sprint sections. So it's not going to be calm all the way through. Very flat, but as they do come through the sprint sections on this upper part of the course, they will be contending for sprints out there today. So taking a look at it, Monument Avenue, points are going to be scored on laps 2, 3, and 5. 2, 3, and 5, Monument Avenue. So that'll make things a lot more interesting out here today for those sprint points. We'll see how things are going to end up playing out. And I have a feeling that the riders like we're looking at right now, Aiden Sinclair from the Canyon team, Canyon Esports team, who is part of their new development team coming out of Australia. He's definitely been a rider to watch out for. I'm seeing Ryan Gugliano in there as well, top triathlete, actually. I believe he's done quite a few Ironman distances. He jumped recently on over to Team Draft in the world of esports in the last couple of years. Good to see him jumping back out into the world of Zwift races as we head into the fall season. Now Brett Boniface is out here as well. I'm seeing all types of names. Whiteley there from BRT. That's a name I haven't seen in quite a while here. You got to watch out for Whiteley as he has jumped in here. So lots of riders to watch out for. Things are going to start lining up here as we head into the first couple of sprints. It'll be on lap 2, 3, and 5, I believe, from what I'm seeing on the pull-in on the graphic here.
A robust field, as Nathan is talking about. We do some inventory here, starting with 116 riders. And again, you never know who's going to come out of the woodwork. This is the silly season. I see that name popping up. That's going to be James Hodges there, always a rider to watch. So name of the game today, no doubt about it, keep that TSS, your workload, down as low as possible, because it's going to be one massive effort there. They will dim the power grid all over virtual Virginia when how large will the group be that hits the cobbles there as you make that hard right-hand turn onto the bottom of Libby Hill. You're obviously going to need, I would say, to be in that group of the first 15 riders. It's amazing how much can change, but you got to be in the mix. So there we go, Nathan. Thank you. Picking up Hodges right now. Again, always a rider to watch. If you look around and see that you're in the group that he's in, you know, things can't be that bad. If not, things might be going really, really well, to tell you the truth. So we do have all the different categories racing out here. Again, this is the 10th of 10 races in the summer series, and I think you can feel it in a lot of places around the globe right now. Things are starting to cool down, but that man isn't starting to hot things up right now. There you go. That's how you split the group. It's a flat course, Nathan, for the first, let's even say 29K, but here's how you make a difference. The fresh maker, Fuller, joining Hodges. Here we go.
Fuller, Subaru Santa Monica now off the front. 193 beats per minute, though. This is a serious dig going on right now.
What it takes.
Coming from Hodges as well as Fuller. And that is what it takes here. 7 watts per kilogram, 400 watts. They got 1 second here on the front, only pulling along at about 4.6. They're going to keep them within striking distance easily, I believe. But at 52 kilometers per hour, they could continue on here. Subaru Santa Monica says that is enough. Hodges, though, continues. No, he sits on the wheel, though. It looks like they're working together. They got 3 seconds. And this is the torturous part of trying to make a break like this on a flatter section of the course, because the reality is, as you're trying to add away meter by meter, it's just little by little for so much effort, actually, here. As you can see, it's up into 165 beats per minute. Hodges, he maxes out in that 170s. So very difficult time for him right now. 3 seconds. And on a downhill like this, going to be difficult to get any kind of distance.
Yeah, Nathan, I really am picking up what you're putting down here, because the amount of effort it takes to get 5 seconds, well, you look at that, it's a 2, 3, 4 minute long effort, putting your heart rate up into the stratosphere, where almost everybody's sitting back in that group. The super savvy riders like Leandro Messanillo, he's certainly a guy to be watching today. The Argentinian is really coming on strong. Gary Mueller, another rider out of South Africa I'll be watching. And right now, Nathan, they're breathing through their nose back in this group here. So, and you can see as it's really right now fanned out 5 wide. That is the ideal situation if you're looking to keep your energy levels, your energy stores stocked up. Well, right now you're not even going into the cabinet looking for some wheat thins at this point. So, all right, you're going to see, though, that with this group, things will happen. But right now, Hodges is the first, just, I would say, test the pace a little bit. This is not an attack that he's planning on winning the race with, but I do think he wants to put a little more salt in the soup.
Yeah, looking at the James Phillips right now, probably one of the strongest sprinters in the world of esports on Zwift now. And he's going to be... Go ahead, Dave.
I was going to say, let's talk about that, Nathan, because it almost surely comes down to a sprint of one type or another. So you're talking about Fuller as a rider to watch. Who else stands out to you here today? Messanillo, obviously.
Yeah, so James Phillips, current reigning UK national champion of Zwift right here, donning that red, white, and blue, as you can see, winning that in a sprint situation. He's been definitely the strongest sprinter for Canyon ZCC for the last year and a half, I would say, at this point, though. I think that he's out here riding with his new Devo team member, trying to train up a little bit for that Aiden Sinclair, who is jumping in as well for that Canyon development team. So be watching out for that. Messanillo definitely could get involved, but Messanillo definitely being a lighter rider, could get the jump at the right time, but Phillips just has the pure wattage if he gets things set up correctly. Now, the reality, though, that it is a Libby Hill after party, you're going to be uphill. So I think Messanillo might have the advantage. Maybe Phillips showing up more for a preem situation than he's going to be here for the after party when they hit Libby Hill.
That's what I love about the sport, Nathan, is that there's so many variables, right? Yeah, if it's a pure sprint and they're doing it right now, absolutely not favoring Messanillo. Again, that's the Argentinian rider that we're talking about, Leandro. But when you look at Libby Hill, now it's really an interesting. Have you ever seen Libby Hill in real life, Nathan? I know you've got, it's interesting when you look at all these courses around the world, and so many people have been to Central Park, but not that many people, that day or the week of the World Championships, there are probably throughout the week, maybe 50,000 people that strolled over there. It's a small park. It doesn't really stand out in real life, and it's much harder because of the cobbles. It's not that long. It's really what's going to be impressive is it's a tough surface to sprint on, and as you said, it's not like the greatest 12%, but it's a pretty steady grind for that last. Not even half K, but that's enough. When you're talking about more than 400 meters of going at more than 5%. That really, really wears on you, and that's circling back to what I was talking about. Leandro Messanillo should be super good in that scenario. So another rider, obviously, to watch here, Nathan. He's a closer, the super talented 16-year-old Vigo Moore.
That's a great point. I'm actually seeing Keith Robertson coming through over in the chat on YouTube saying Messanillo versus Moore versus Boniface for the win, in his opinion. But watch out for Segala as well. I think Segala also is definitely one that we're going to need to be
read my mind
wide open. Yeah, so definitely a good shout out there from Keith Robertson. Again, though, I think the reality of Canyon ZCC, Canyon Esports team being in here, and Aiden Sinclair, I think that does throw a little bit of a wild card in there, because I do believe Aiden is a strong sprinter with a little bit more of a focus on these punchier uphill. I think he's a little bit lighter than the pure sprinter coming from James Phillips over at that Canyon team. Now we are coming into lap number 2 here, so this is going to be the first sprint coming on through. It's going to be Moxon here from the BRG Chasers now moving through, but Harry Mustard here, Cryo, RDT with 15 watts per kilogram. He's going to take it out here far up, though. DBRRT trying to come on through, but no, Harry Mustard walks away with that one. Phillips jumping late, actually. Is that to try and make something happen, perhaps? No, he's just grabbing maybe a 5-pointer. We'll have to wait and see what the results come on through here in just a minute. But our mail is in here as well. Watch out to here, Dave. We've got a serious situation here with Vidar Mail. This is the reigning Norwegian national champion as well. So we've got multinational champion presence here in this race right now with Callis as well showing up.
I love to see that, Nathan. I really do. And these are the dangerous moments. You never do know what's going to happen out here. And a split is entirely possible if you can get the right mix of riders all with the same motivation. So here we go. We were talking about Matteo Segala. There he is right in the middle of your screen, the Irish rider. Riding for Team Italy. Matteo is one of the awesome characters that we've got in this peloton here. Remembering that riders around the world. There's Hewell Davies moving up, the Welsh rider. This is, again, Philippe, the Canyon rider there. We were looking at a really strong field here. To set the table for you, we are now a third of the way through, basically, not quite a third of the way through, a 33-kilometer showdown. Nathan, this is about as close to a scratch race, as straight up as it gets, because we're racing from a start to a finish line, and the finish has a significant, well, I wouldn't even call it a climb. It's an uphill finish on cobbles. Here we get a good look at how that sprint scored with the points there, looking through some different categories. I'm sorry there. I saw Harry Mustard.
Yeah, it's correct on Harry Mustard. It jumped across there for just a moment.
Perfect.
Harry Mustard, Christian Moxon, Hywell Davies, and then it's going to be James Phillips, followed up by Shital Farah. That is the situation there for the sprinters that did come through. I believe some of the data was grabbing just a little bit off from a few of the other sprints, probably across categories. I'm expecting is maybe why that grabbed that. I'll have to double check and see.
I thought you were just trying to keep me honest.
Just trying to keep you honest. Just trying to keep you honest. That's all
hey,
about all
I'm working
us.
on my... Hey, everyone, Nathan, can you feel this now? We are really at the end of what has been a very interesting summer of racing here, as this is the 10th of 10 for the... So TFC, so Mad Monday has been fantastic racing. I mean, you're really looking for fields exactly this size with this quality. It's a quantity-quality issue, and we're hitting both out of the park here today for our 10th and final race. So it's nice when you Shetel Farah up there is a rider to watch today as well. You can go to ZwiftPower.com and get a ton of information. This parcours that we're looking at, Nathan, is maybe the least exciting I've ever seen. As far as racers make the race, don't worry about that. The race will be fantastic. But when you look at what we've got here, it is almost I don't know if I've seen a flatter profile. They drop down before they end up hitting out for the finish line in Libby Hill. But it is as straight ahead. Maybe that's a better word than boring. I don't know if I said boring or not, but it's never boring out here. They're making huge watts right now just staying in this group. You can see those numbers stay consistently in the high 4 points, let's say around 5 watts per kilo. That's no joke.
Yeah, and we do see as they do head up this. This is the only uphill section actually throughout the entirety of this lap.
It's the only time they go
turn.
Yep.
And about 2-3% for just a moment, then backs off to this 1%. People do give a little bit of a dig once in a while, but with those points up for grabs on 2, 3, and 5, as they're going to be coming into the next sprint point here, it's definitely going to matter. So I have a feeling they're going to chill out and not try and get away at this point, just try and set up for this next sprint. The reality of the way the TFC has set this up with these sprint preems, it really opens up the game, really opens up the competition to not just be about the first one across the line.
I love it. It makes for much better racing, no doubt. And you'll see these contested. Last time it was Harry Mustard. Harry's been on a roll lately, Nathan, hasn't he? We've had him in our WTRL Team Time Trial Series. He's a cornerstone of his cryogen team. It's the Vultures, right? If I remember correctly.
Correct, absolutely.
There's 29 million cryogen teams. As many birds types as there's teams for cryogen. It's just an awesome movement. And Harry is a leader in that community, as they say. Great guy, really strong rider, and he picked up maximum bonus points at the last sprint. Nathan, thanks for getting us all up to speed here. Over the 33 kilometers of racing, we have multiple laps, and we sprinted already for the first time. We'll be sprinting again on this lap and then lap 5 before we have the finale on Libby Hill. Libby Hill After Party is what we call today's course as we pick up Bernjing right now. There are other categories out there racing. We focus on this one. We want to make sure we do it right and give our thorough attention here. There's a Via rider to watch here, very comfortably sitting up on the front, Nathan. One of my favorite things, I'm not going to lie, is when you see all the flags popping up and just the diversity of nations around the globe.
Yeah, we are seeing Brent Bergen here now, and this is another Norwegian rider riding for the Vikings here. And the riders are coming out of Norway, actually. A big shout out to them. Definitely all about the Zwifting. Top teams have always been coming out of here. So Vikings, they alongside of the Callis Esports team, and a lot of these riders actually rode together on was kind of this like Norwegian. You know, it wasn't like an official esports team at any time, and they all know each other. That's for sure. They're watching each other, and they're always on the radar.
Yeah, if you were to put together a Zwift superheroes squad, there would be a Norwegian on it, without any doubt. Pound for pound, that nation. It's not a big country, you know. I mean, it's basically the size of Ireland, and you look at how well represented, not just the volume of riders, but man, some of the heaviest hitters of all, men and women. Here we go. Yeah, let's pick this one up, Nathan. They're bringing it home, and it looks like Harry Mustard wasn't messing around, but Sinclair Canyon always in full effect.
Yeah, I believe Aiden Sinclair was able to take that down. We'll have to double check on the boards here in just a second. Mustard, though, was right on this tail. It looked like it came right down to the line. They got a little bit of a gap now, though. Let's see if they can pull away a little bit. It'll be interesting to see if they do get a couple of riders that are strong enough. It might be able to work. Vidar Mail, Harry Mustard. We've got Finesse Waku, Jones. Very strong field.
Nathan, when you say, like, what are the right ingredients to make a breakaway? Well, that was basically it. And what you see here now is the reality of when you have this many riders with that much wattage available to them, they can shut things down, and they're not going to play around with that at all. So sort of the after effects of that sprint. In criterium racing, one of the things that you see quite a bit is one of the rare opportunities where a small window opens up out there to create a breakaway is immediately after a sprint. You have this combination of riders who are contesting, who are sitting up, riders who maybe didn't contest, who let a gap open up, and that it helps get a breakaway started. At least it's the kindling, if you will. But Nathan, here we go. Grupo Compato all together now as they roll through the midway part of this race.
Yeah, and you can see it looks like some of the Viggo Moore actually firing himself toward the back of this pack, and he hasn't really been involved too much.
He's a tail gunner. He tail guns a lot, Nathan. I'm starting. It's part of his process. I think we've discussed before the great Cuban rider Ivan Dominguez, Rasan Bahati, actually our friend at Zwift, used to do it all the time. That's tail gunning. Now, what that really is a roll of the dice. You trust. Now, a lot of times when guys do it, it's because they have strong teams that will come back and help them if they need it. But sitting on the back of the group and not getting involved in all of these surges that happen at the front, just trusting that it'll all be together. Viggo will start moving up at about 5K to go. Less than that even, I would think. He's not looking for points today. We discussed this, and I think it was backed up in some of the comments I heard from riders after the race, Nathan, is when you have these series like TFC Mad Monday, and this is the 10th of 10 races here, some riders haven't been at all 10. Some riders, this might be their first one. So there's no restriction saying that you have to do all 10 or any certain number. So somebody like Viggo isn't interested in these sprint points that Harry Mustard and Aiden Sinclair have been going for. He's here to win a bike race today. So I could see what he's doing. I wouldn't do it personally because I'm not strong enough. But what Viggo really trusts in is he'll be able to move up when he needs to. I would not be able to.
Interesting enough to see that Harry Mustard here actually did take down that sprint. It was right at the line. There you go. And 20 points going to him. James Phillips found by Aiden Sinclair. So it does look like the two Canyon riders are definitely on the radar for that. Christian Moxon followed up by Hywel Davies. Then it's going to be Vidar Mail, the Norwegian national champion. Greg Baloo. Here's my not there. And then Jadal
Boyo, I would go with. But that Boyo. Yeah. But hey, you know what, Nathan? One thing you are really good at is identifying talent. And I'm gonna guess if we could remember that moment there, that screenshot of 3 of the top 5 were on that list that you just showed. There's going to be a couple riders that come out of the woodwork here for that final sprint, but I think what we've learned is quite a bit about who brought their A game.
And I think one rider here that was on there, the French rider, I'm definitely on my radar here, is going to be the Finesse Wahoo team. And they have recently renamed here. It used to be just Finesse. And it looks like they did pick up Wahoo as a sponsor.
Nice
so
work.
Good to see with Finesse. They've got V Hogan. Hogan is out there as well with them. So some of this very cool to see Finesse jumping in amongst this TFC Mad Monday series now. And I have a feeling that Finesse are starting to kind of ramp things up. It's been quiet. July and August, it's been super quiet with a lot of these teams. And I think they're starting to, I think also the reality of the announcements of the World Championships, there's also been the reality of the announcements of there's this new ecosystem of Zwift Esports that's on its way. I think they're all kind of starting to go, okay, it's time to start getting organized here, showing up for some of the races and really start to get these machines oiled, these teams, well-oiled machines together here to figure out how are we going to be winning some races and put our name out there. Not just, for the fun of it, but now there's some stuff on the line here with sponsors, people that are, bringing in these almost trade team type situations. Well, actually trade teams really is what it comes down to.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is really, really, I would love to be making a documentary about this season, the phenomenon that's happening because of all the momentum that we're carrying with many new Zwifters. The platform has become recognized by a lot more folks. The understanding of what's happening here and the enjoyment that people are having has radiated out. More and more people are doing it. You can feel that momentum has now grown to the fact that we're going to have just a massive season here for the 2021 winter. And I mean, I'm as stoked as I've ever been about racing, Nathan, and I love seeing the professionalism. One of the coolest things you see are the teams and their ability to start promoting the riders. And so these are no longer just icons that you're looking at pedaling a bike here on the screen. You start to really identify the people and the strategies, the tactics, and it's just going to be an amazing year. There's no doubt. But we are not done and dusted yet with the summer season. It's kind of hard to believe now as they're talking about snow in parts of North America. It's definitely, you're going to see more and more people on Zwift. But before we get there, we need to close the book on this one. And this is going to be an absolute Donnybrook out here as they come up on 20K into 33 total kilometers. And the sting is in the tail. It is absolutely awesome to finish on Libby Hill, the site of the 2015 World Championships. This was actually the hill that we're going on to here with Libby Hill was right before Peter Sagan launched his race-winning World Championship, his first Worlds on this course. So here we go. Buckle up, hitting that 20K in point. It looks like a little surge happening again.
Yeah, a little bit of a surge. There was no sprint on this lap number 4. There will be another sprint, 4 points on lap number 5. So they just calmed right on down here. And it is James Hodges again. Of course it's James Hodges. Always trying to make things interesting. And that's definitely something we can count on from the KRT team here. Perry Mahan.
We know he doesn't have his Sturzo.
No, he may have the Sturzo.
He may have it, but it's not on.
Yeah, the steering's just not on. It's not going to do him a whole lot of good. Actually, a lot of times people just turn it off now because there has been a situation where sometimes it causes you just go into the right lane and not be able to draft. Like if you have it on and steering's off, and then it just locks you out of the draft completely and your race is over.
Not ideal. Not ideal at all.
Yeah. So he probably turned it off. He probably turned it off. I'd be surprised if he did.
He's such a strong rider and absolutely someone that you keep your eyes on here as now the Peloton's going to gobble that up as we take a look. That's going to be our man, the South African Gary Mueller here, another rider who comes in as one of the stronger riders on the platform. No doubt about it. Certainly he's going to get attention, have alarm bells ringing back through the group, and just sort of get a feel now for who's been riding up near the front, who's been attentive as start to feel it ratchet up just a little bit at this point now back through the group. Guys starting to feel like they don't want to be too far back here just in case a split happens. You never do know. We do have another sprint coming up. And those always seem to...
Little tidbit here. A lot of riders, and well, maybe hopefully not the racers, but the viewers might be wondering, are these sprint points a part of their own sprint competition? Is there a sprint jersey, or are these points that are actually toward the overall competition? These are points that are bonus points for the overall competition. So it's making it so that it's not just about the first across the line. It's not just about a scratch racer. It's also about somebody who wants to fight for those extra points throughout the race. So essentially, these are bonus points. Each week, there's 30 bonus points up for grabs that are available as laid out. It's 10 points for first, second gets 7, third, fifth, fourth 3, and then 1 point for fifth at each one of the segments. So the segments this week then are the second, the third, and the fifth lap on this Monument Avenue. So that's the whole idea here. They are sprinting for the overall points in the series competition. That's why these riders are fighting for them.
Now, I don't know if it's possible, Nathan. It's always a challenge, but to put that into context, then you'll see that it's a pretty decent-sized stack of points. That Harry Mustard, if I remember correctly, is our overall series leader here, and so that would obviously be why Harry is just looking to. I think that Harry had this one pretty much locked up as we came into the 10th of 10 races. So a little insurance there, and it might be the final, the finishing tax there that he's applying, because Harry has been, this has been his series. No doubt about it. So
he's 100% been walking away with this one so far, by far. So taking a look here real quick, and gonna see, I'm loading up the TFC Mad Monday races here. I'm going to see if I can find the overall score, and it does look like TFC are dominating it so far, actually. BRT, ART then following that up. As far as the overalls here for the individuals, it does look like Cryogen, though, in the A category, doing an amazing job, and that is going to be probably from the efforts there coming from Harry Mustard, actually, though. So they're really focused in on the teams, it seems like, actually, for these series here, which is really cool to see that they put that whole team element together out on the on this race series, because I think that really encourages people the same way that the team element matters so much in the WTRL TTT. You can see something similar happening here, where people are working for each other to get as many points as you can. And the reality of being able to race for the team, not just first across the line, because that's a lot of times that's all you're doing in real life. A lot of times, unless you put these kind of in-game games together, right? And so it's really great to see how people can work for a team at different sections and not just try and hang on to the end.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And absolutely, as we take a look now at teams doing exactly what Nathan is talking about, keeping the pace high. And I think that when you see through a sector like this, the speeds carrying over 45 kilometers per hour, you know that trying to break away now is a fool's errand. It really, and it's picking up here. And so a little bit of a downhill, just a tiny bit, but that brings the speed over 50 kilometers per hour. And Nathan, I don't know any individual right now that wants to be trying to go at 55 kilometers per hour. And the funny thing is, Nathan, you do that for 1 minute and you've got about a 3-second advantage. It's an awful lot of work for not much time.
Yeah, exactly. And these teams are definitely motivated, that's for sure, to try and grab as many points as they possibly can, specifically because we were just talking about, because it is such a team effort to try and get these points and see if they can lead things out. And we got Richardson there from the Innovation. Cybert's there as well. TVC RGT, it looks like. Pure Auto's also out here stealing behind. Watch out for the Danish rider. But Phillips, always Canyon, one to watch out for the Welshman now as he starts to set up right around that fifth wheel. They're going to take a 180-degree turn and come right on into this final 500 meters for the last sprint on the day.
It's always interesting when you look at points and sprints. It's not always about what you as an individual can do, but with the team now, you're also going to be taking points off of the table. And here you go. This is how you're going to do it. Get a little bit of a jump on it. It's going to be Moxon here, one of the BRTC Chasers riders, and I think he might have done just enough there. As the finish line will come up very, very quickly. He is flat out flying a mile per minute.
He walked away from it. It looks like, whoa, is Harry Mustard going to get to the line? Is it going to happen? He got it. He just got it. That was... What a move by Moxon. Really? Usually you cannot get away there, but they were being really patient, and they paid for it. They paid for waiting a little bit too long. Moxon, BRT, grabs the points at the line. That's 10 points. Bonus. It's going to matter at the end of the day.
See that? He was going 60K per hour on the flat. right there. That is a superhuman effort. So, all right, that'll do it, folks, for sprints along the way. We'll start tallying up those points, but now it's all about the finale. And here we go. It's going to get frenetic here. Pandemonium now in Richmond, Virginia, Nathan. One rider holding up a small group, a little bit of split. Here comes the peloton. They're going to weld that back together. But this one is going to be very, very interesting. It's not going to be as straight ahead as maybe we would have thought, Nathan.
No, we actually have a little bit of a dig off the front here, but bringing it right back in. Harry needs to chill out, it looks like here. 179 beats per minute. Does he want to be involved across the line? Because it's 33K on the day, everybody. And they've absolutely been flying. 31 minutes in. They've covered almost 26K at this point. So they are really, really flying out here today. And they're doing over 52 kilometers per hour almost. 51-ish. This has been not a slow race, that's for sure. Fighting for position each and every lap when they're hitting these sprint points. But now, downhill, along the river, through the industrial park, and then up Libby Hill. That's all we got left to go.
Harry Mustard can make over 1,200 watts when it's necessary, and let's see, it's going to be necessary soon. Look at the Swedes here, Nathan. Something is going on. You see a lot of action at the front. This group's starting to string out just a little bit here.
Yeah, it looks like everybody fighting for position. That can really cause a lot of mayhem, actually, amongst the riders as they do
Brings the speed up, too, for sure.
Definitely brings the speed up as they continue to fight for position. That just all that ends up happening is the snowball effect. As the avatars head their way to the front, head their way to the front, they all just continue to try and find that spot. 52 kilometers per hour now. The riders that are toward the back, if they're trying to move forward, they got to push 7 watts per kilogram just to find the position that everybody else is looking for. And that even snowballs it more. So you got to kind of find that right timing. Or just kick 10 real quick and find yourself at the front.
Tear off the Band-Aid, right? And just absolutely bury yourself and move up and then hope that you can recover. It's really, one way or another, you are really going to have to do some work to move up in this group now, and that's the name of the game. That's why positioning is so important here. Not even much a teammate can do for you here as we take a look at this is going to be points scored on the day in our bonus sprints with Harry Mustard at 27, Christian Moxon sitting at 17, James Phillips has gotten up there for 8, Aiden Sinclair 7, Alistair Cyber in with 5. He's tied with Huel Davies at 5 there, Vidar Mel 3. Then you've got Warren Meir, Greg Billiot, and Jacques Stillin. That's going to be your top 10 right now on points. That's tallied up. A lot of points waiting at the finish line. And this will be it. We'll be done and dusted with the TFC Mad Monday Summer Series.
Yeah, taking a look here, we do see that Farup was off the front for just a moment. And very interesting to see the name for Farup. Farup used to ride for Team Callis. It looks like there's been a little bit of a draft going on here. And it looks like Farup here now for the DBRRT team, actually, out of Norway. So a little bit of a change up here, it looks like. And in that specialized kit now, rather than the actually right next to him. Look who's hanging out, an old teammate. It looks like as we see a Callis Esports team jersey go by. So interesting to see as things start to change up and we head into the official, Zwifting season. I think that there's definitely some drafting going on, looking for the strongest teams that everybody can find, or riders looking for a better deal. There's a reality that some riders are like, look, what can I ride for, and what can I what's going to happen here? What am I getting out of this situation? Because it's definitely not just club buddies hanging out anymore looking for a workout. That's for sure.
Yeah, a lot of things have changed. They call it the silly season in real life, and same thing here. And it's a lot of times you'll also find, Nathan, that through the last 3 months, riders have really bonded with a new group of riders, and they want to start a new team. There's so many changes happening out there. You're going to hear announcements almost every day from the men and the women's side of things. And again, it's part of the growth of the sport on the side of esports. And there's going to be a lot of new teams. The other thing that you start to see are teams that develop, like Canyon. I love the concept of the development team. It really makes a ton of sense, especially when you take quality in real life riders and want to bring them into the esports platform on Zwift. What a great place to do it. Get some high level coaching. Imagine the difference, of riding with someone who really knows what they're doing rather than just jumping into the deep end of the pool here. This was the drop. Now it's almost ominous, Nathan, when you're doing it. As you pick up a ton of speed, it flattens out, and then you make your way over to Libby Hill.
Yeah, and everyone's going to be really looking to set up through here. Look at the resting on the back here. It looks like it's going to be Segala, I think, that's sitting on the back here, really chilling out. Lots of super tucks. And Segala actually kicking up an 8 watts per kilogram real quickly. Make sure he doesn't fall off. There was a moment of worry,
danger.
I think, for just a second.
Danger
Like,
zone,
uh-oh,
yeah.
what am I doing here? It doesn't look like I'm in the right spot any longer. And lots of little kicks up into that 8 watts per kilogram or so. I think riders are really trying to position themselves with little punches to try and be in the best spot they possibly can. But he does not want to find himself on the front, though. And there he is. Oh, man, that's a tough spot to be actually here. Getting into the super tuck, guys. They're all going to come around. They're all going to come around, right? As soon as it flattens out here. And there goes the pack all around him there.
Look at that. Look how quickly then he goes back to the back, right? What a journey this is going to be. And again, this is the gaming element. It's not just who can make the most watts. It's who's going to make the right watts at the right time. And certainly responding to the stimuli that you're getting from the other racers out here as well. So this is where you really start to grind, though, because they are flat out flying nearly at 60 kilometers per hour. They've only got a couple K left, but the brutal part is Libby Hill. So this is one of the most infamous little climbs in North America, the site of the World Championships. And this cobbled climb in this historic American town always brings out the best. Gentlemen, we are locked and loaded. This is not a drill. Only the strong survive to the finish line here today.
Yeah, and we have got about 2K to go. That's it at this point here. 2K to go, and they're going to be looking toward that climb here. It's going to be about a minute effort, really. At the end of the day, with a lot of riders, I'm looking at full on. I can maybe do a 105 at this point. I don't know. If I just came in completely rested, full speed ahead, maybe a one. But they're going to be shooting for that 1 minute. 60 seconds, what do you got for the win? Is really what you're looking at a crowd like this. And looking at the watts per kilogram, if we really take a look at the data here at this point and the effort that's been put in by the riders, I'm going to get the feeling that we've got riders like Vigo Moore, Aiden Sinclair, just been chilling up to this point, not putting in too much of an effort, not wasting anything.
Absolutely. That is the name of the game. If you're going to
Leandro
make this
Messinil. Have you seen Messinil stick his nose in the wind at all?
Exactly what I was going to say. Yep, no. And that's how he does it. This is absolutely his MO, modus operandi. You don't see him. You don't hear about him. He just lays back, and then all of a sudden, like a panther, he's there and he strikes. And I honestly think that this is his race today, Nathan. He is perfectly suited. There's horses for courses, as they say, and he is perfectly suited for this finale. He's ridden the race the way he does. He should be right in his wheelhouse here. We'll see. A lot of things have to play out correctly, even for a rider who's that talented and is on a course that suits him well, because there's a lot of other riders that applies to as well. This is Matteo Segala that we're looking at, the Irish rider, who's always up in the mix. There's a lot of big names left, Nathan. This is a really hard race to pick a top
this
3,
is a
4.
name I'm watching out for. Jaldine's here, also from the Cal Esports team. I haven't seen him once out here. And that is rider pushing. Havard Zaldins at 4.1 watts per kilogram so far. That is one of the lowest. Yeah. Another Norwegian here. Callis is showing up in force today, actually. Interesting to see. But Aiden Sinclair, he's actually put out 4.8 so far. Way up there. So Aiden, maybe a little bit much. Brake Bergen now making his way to the front as well. Vikings team, all the Norwegians are showing up to play here. Vidar Mail here, he's got a kick. There's a reason why he's got that national champs kit on.
You know, the other Matthias Lundqvist, the Swedish rider, Nathan. Kind of another guy who might come out of the woodwork on us here.
Here we go.
So
Libby Hill, we're starting it right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is it, gentlemen. Who wants it more? Is only one rider gets to lick his plate clean, and I think that was the rider that you were talking about, Nathan. But then again, they come over the top and they swarm. All right, it is on like Donkey Kong here on Libby Hill.
Baptist here. Baptist Gabesiao coming up to the front here. World lead Zwifters he's been so quiet up to this point, actually. I didn't even know that they were in the race. This is coming out of the woodwork at this point. B. Jones now, Segala now, 10 watts per kilogram, 198 beats per minute. Vigo Moore, he kicks, 12 watts per kilogram coming for Vigo Moore, but here comes Aiden Sinclair, now 14, trying to follow. Gary Mueller. Mueller now sits on the wheel. It's not over yet. Aiden Sinclair trying to distance himself. It's just in the distance there. 10 seconds to the line, maybe 15 seconds to the line. Aiden Sinclair trying to kick Vigo Moore Moore trying to come over the top. This Vigo going to do it. He's been so quiet. It's right to the line. Vigo Moore makes it happen. Vigo Moore to the line. Over the top of Aiden Sinclair. Gary Miller takes third, it looks like here. We'll take a look at that replay in just a moment. But what? You said it. You said he was not going to come out until the final few K, and he made it happen perfectly, playing to his talents.
Well, that is, again, a 16. He might even be 15, to tell you the truth. He rides for the Lux Development
He went
team.
so fast, he went back in time and changed his age.
He's now 12. No, this kid is a super talent right now. They're talking about Sepp Kuss, and obviously our friend Nielsen Paulus in the Tour de France. This young man has that same kind of talent at that same age. So way to go, Vigo. Played all his cards right. Boy, Nathan, the great thing about Vigo, it's not only that he's young and talented, he's savvy and patient as well. And those are a lot of words you don't always hear together.
That was super well timed. I think Aiden, I mean, you look at Aiden's watts per kilogram throughout the entirety of that race. You saw him involved in a lot of the sprints. That's where he paid for it, I think. It was that just that extra little bit, I think, that Aiden put into getting those points for the Canyon team, though.
It's funny, Nathan, if you looked at it, we talked about this the other day with the women racing with the men, but I'm going to guess that Aiden's watts per kilo over the course of the race are going to be 3-4 tenths of a watt per kilo higher than what you saw from Vigo Moore. That's how much Vigo sat on.
Half a watt per kilogram, a full half a watt per kilogram, actually.
So there you go. That backs up exactly what I'm saying.
Exactly. So we are
it's not who does the most work. It's who does the most work when the boss is watching.
Look at the placing though here as we come into this final. We're into the final 300 meters here. So Sinclair kicks at 14 watts per kilogram. Vigo, where is he? He's sitting sixth wheel, 13, steady here now. You can see him right in the middle of the pack there too. You see it's the brown with yellow Tron wheels here, and Aiden's leading things out actually.
Yeah, so at this point, you would think, well, Aiden's got it. But you remember that this is, 7% grade.
He's got a few meters gap here, too.
Yeah, he's not even giving a draft to anyone at that point. And this is where I thought, oh, boy, Sinclair has done enough. But you always remember the reality, and then there you go. This is where Vigo Moore goes full-on Vigo Moore for us. Watch this. Look at these numbers, Nathan.
Yeah, up into 12 watts per kilogram. He sits on the wheel perfectly here. And, they're almost matched, actually, but he gets his final 13 kick. But it was a timing thing, too. It really was a timing thing. If we go backwards, if we were going to reverse that, there was a lot to do with the timing, I think, there as well. Just the reality of how he sat on the wheels. Whereas Aiden, I think, kind of led things out a little bit. Being a uphill sprint, I think Aiden thought that he could get the gap and make something happen. Because if you really look at the watts per kilogram and match him pretty well here, Sinclair really just ended up being a lead-out man, I think. I'm not sure that there was too much more. Moore did push that 15 there for a second, though. If we go, there is a moment here where Vigo pushes 15 at a 14% gradient, though, and I think that might have really upped his speed.
Well, and against any mortal human, this would have been enough to win. Aiden Sinclair did not lose this race. Vigo Moore won it. And there's a difference there. That was not a guy fading at the end. He didn't give up second, and so, again, Aiden should be really proud of that ride. Just came up against an absolute monster. And Nathan, you really hit the nail on the head because winning bike races is all about that impeccable timing, and Vigo's got it.
Yeah, 100%. Let's take a quick look here. We'll head on over to Libby Hill to take a look at our results, as they have just come in, and it does look like Vigo Moore taking it by a tenth of a second, followed by Aiden Sinclair. Then it's going to be Gary Mueller. Good to see draft on the board here with Warren Muir then, and then it's going to be Greg. And there's no L in there. There's no from what you helped me out there. Go ahead, help me out again. I am so poor. Me in the French language, it just does not work out.
Bouillot. Is what I'm going with. I know they do. They make it tricky for you, Nathan. I know it's not.
I don't know why the L's even there. Anyway.
You know what I'm thinking?
Exactly,
Think Lambeau Field. Think Lambeau Field.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So Right.
Lambo,
So
but there's still a B in there. You don't just eliminate the. All right, we're moving on. Zachary
right, you're
Gunther,
right.
followed up by Simon Nielsen, Adam Odstad, and then it's going to be Alistar Siebert, Mateo Segala, followed up with all within 2 seconds of each other. But with that uphill sprint, it really got some separation that you usually, you don't always see in these situations, in those sprint finals. Now, everybody, if you didn't know, got something big going on tomorrow. Check this out. This is going to be the Champagne Series. Empowerment, WTRL. Now, this is all French. Look at all these French names. Champs Ulysses.
This is your worst nightmare, right?
Rule Mapo and La Renee. There you go. My best shot at him, everybody. Women's Empowerment Series starting tomorrow. I did see the questions in chat. I will be loading up all of the broadcasts over the next hour for the rest of the week. So be on the watch out. Check out our YouTube as well as our Facebook for all those announcements. We got a lot of broadcasts. I think we have 8 broadcasts actually this week, everybody. We've been really busy over the weekend getting them set up. So we're not getting them set up, getting a lot of things in place actually, as well as last week. So it's been super busy, but we'll have those all up and loaded for you for the rest of the week. Women's Empowerment's going to be the first thing though, followed up by SCR on Wednesday, WTRL TTT. We've also got the final in the Win Series, I believe is happening yet. And then we also have a new Crit Crushers back-to-back happening for the Australian market. And then we also have an amazing charity with Pavlov this weekend. I was doing a lot of the pre-productions for Pavlov this morning, Dave, and we're watching these videos and I'm like crying. I'm just like, I'm crying. I'm like, It's such a good foundation, everybody. If you haven't checked it out, like I am really blown away by the work.
You're a father yourself.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
It even hits home hard.
Like ready to cry, just like sitting here right now.
I
Like,
know.
seriously, it's really so good, you guys. This Saturday, make sure to check it out. Join the event. The event's already scheduled out on Zwift. And it's going to be a great broadcast. I'm super excited to promote everything that they're up to. We'll be talking about it all week, as we lead into it. If you want to get involved, make sure to get involved. It's scheduled both on our Facebook as well as their Facebook. We're going to be, it sounds like we've got a couple of awesome partners. Peloton magazine is also helping us out. So a lot's going on there, you guys. So definitely get involved this weekend. And Wahoo is also helping out. And I believe we're going to be scheduling a crossover on their Facebook too as well. So really great live streaming event coming up this weekend. So there's a lot going on this week, guys. ZCL, we're going to have a lot of fun. Happy Monday to everybody. Great job to all the racers out there. As always, I'm Nathan Garrett, Dave Toll. And we will see you tomorrow for the Women's Empowerment Series. Champagne. We're going to be cracking the champagne. It sounds like. All right, everybody. Have a great day, everybody. Right on. Thank you.